Oh yeah, I haven't even had Thanksgiving dinner yet. Gee, give me a break. Hey, welcome back to the garage, everyone. All right, so today we've got some, I guess you'd call them minor little problems to take care of on the old Corvette. We got some squeaks and some rattles and some bangs and some shimmies and some squeals. And they're pretty loud and somewhat reminiscent of Ned Beatty on a mountain canoe trip. So you guys stick around. We'll be right back after these important messages. Hey, welcome back to the ass end of my Corvette. So, first thing you need to know right out of the gate is Royal Purple, you're fired. All synthetic, max gear with center lek, 75, whatever. I don't care. It doesn't work. Okay? I thought to myself, now maybe I'm not being fair, but this is supposed to be the best thing since sliced bread, okay? It's supposed to be the be-all, the end-all, cure all your troubles. Not really. So I put this in the Corvette and the same old things came back. The posi clutches in these cars are notorious for clicking and banging and shuddering and moaning and stuff, especially in turns and things like that, unless you get the lubricant into the clutches really well. And I tried that. You're supposed to do figure eights in a parking lot and you look like a nut when you're doing it, but you know, it usually works if you have the right stuff in your differential. But in this case, Royal Purple does not cut the mustard. So as you know, when I rebuilt this thing, I put this really expensive crap in there and it just didn't work. So sorry, Royal Purple, if maybe I'm misusing your application or something, or maybe I'm giving you a hard time for no reason, but I don't think so. So anyway, we're gonna go back with the old standard 80-90 weight differential oil, just plain old stuff with all the sulfur in it that makes it stink, and the appropriate GM posi traction or limited slip friction modifier to make these differentials in these C3 Corvettes run quietly and smoothly. So, all right, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, it's a 5/8 square bolt. I don't know what they were thinking when they put a square bolt on it. I really couldn't tell you, but I'm gonna try to get a wrench in here, see what we can do. Right about now, it's kind of makes you want to have a special tool, you know what I'm saying? All right, I cut up a old cheap flange crow's foot. It's 5/8, so we're going to use this. And I got an extension on this thing. Let's see how well this is going to work. There we go. A little slow, but it's getting the job done. Last time I took this out was when I had the car apart. A lot easier then. I'm sure there's easier ways to do this. I cannot recall the last time I took this out of here with, with everything intact. I changed fluid in this thing a long time ago, years and years ago, and put the proper, additive in it and all that kind of jazz. And I thought during this rebuild, Royal Purple would, would do us right, but nah, not really. I'm really jaded about this stuff, so. There we go, how about that? I had a little much in there, how about that? So we're gonna let that run for a little bit, and then I got a hand pump. I'm gonna pump the rest of it out, and then we'll go ahead and fill it up with the 80-90. So I'll be back here shortly. All right, let's see if we can make something happen here with this crazy setup here. Not sure how successful we're going to be, but we're going to give it a shot. Now I'm going to have to cut some of this off of here because that's too ungainly. Let's see what we got here. We're getting it out of there. These little cheap pumps you get from the parts house are pretty cool, but they'll bind up on you if you put a little bit of oil through them, you can get them to operate again if they sit around for too long. Hey, look at that. Man, we filled that up right away. Holy cow. Well, that will prove to be quite successful, actually. Now, how do we keep from making a mess? Well, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. You're just going to make a mess. That's just, I never prepare properly. I tell you what, let's just put that in there and hopefully it won't fall over. No, that's a stupid idea. Let's not do that. Let's just let it run out. Don't worry about it, Harris. It'll be all right. Well, just got this. I got this oil container here from the engine oil change. We'll just... Well, at least we know we got a solid quart, and probably about 1.5 quarts out of there, because that quart bottle is more than a quart. It's, you know, it's such a nice sound, isn't it? Well, let's see if we can make sure we get this thing down in there. I think that's probably about as good as we're going to get it. So yeah, I think we are successful in evacuating as much royal crapple out of this thing as we possibly can. Mitigate this disaster. I'll be right back. Well, the other side of this coin is the worst case scenario, in that maybe at some point putting this royal purple in here in some fashion did some sort of damage without running the proper lubricant additive. I have no idea, but that's always the case. But I tell you what, if the differential is damaged, and by the way, it's not making any noise going down the road, it's dead quiet, it's nice. You know, if it is damaged and it fails, I'll just rip it out and rebuild it. You know, it's not the end of the world. So, you know, if you're not aware, again, the C3 Corvette posi traction or limited slip differential is known to be quite bangy and clangy and moany if you do not run the proper GM friction modifier. So let me gather that up and I'll show you what that is. So it looks like that little GM bottle there, limited slip axle lubricant. Part number is 10-4003 or 889003330. The original part number from GM is different, but this is the modern equivalent. So anyway, so you want to drain, you know, as much as you can out of there, because you don't want this, you know, dripping back out. Proper way to add it, by the way. So you need to drain it out first and then put this in there. These little PVC cutters, man, they're great. They're just so handy. All right, do not spill it, Harris. All right, we've got our little funnel here that I bent with a heat gun here a while back. Comes in pretty handy. So we're gonna stick this up here and get that elevated. And then I'll pour the last few sips of this in that differential. But you can't see much of what's going on up in here, and it'll take a little while to drip it in there. So that's what I'm doing. I'll be back shortly. All right, so let's go ahead and fill her up with the good stuff. We got GL5 SAE 8090 gear oil, high performance extreme pressure gear lubricant from O'Reilly. So just standard, the good old stinky gear oil. Let's see how well we're going to be able to do this. There we go. All right. This process is always so exciting. So I anticipate, oh yeah, I haven't even had Thanksgiving dinner yet. Key, give me a break. So I'm of the mindset that this oil is so thick that if you put it in there too rapidly, the oil will not have a chance to settle in everywhere in the differential. And you put it in there and it just starts to run out, and then you close it up and you don't have enough oil in there. That's my theory. I don't know if that's true or not, but this stuff is really, really thick. So you need to put some in there and then let it just settle in, get to an even plane, and then add a little more. Do it slowly. Don't do it too fast. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to add this a little bit at a time until I see it start to trickle out the hole there, and then we'll close her up. So anyway, clearly I had a little bit too much of the royal purple in there before because of the differential. I filled it when it was sitting on the bench and it wasn't quite level. So that's why I had too much in there. I don't think it, had any bearing on, the way things worked. Hopefully not, but I don't know. Anyway, all right, let me go ahead and fill this up until it just starts to trickle out, and we'll tighten it up. All right, we got her filled up. Let's go ahead and tighten up our plug here. And I'll tell you what, I don't care what you do, replacing gear oil in a differential is just a messy job. At least it is when I do it. All right, so let's move on to the second half of our video and to get rid of the other noise that's really driving me bonkers. At highway speeds, the speedometer in this thing is, it's doing the thing. It's got to go. We've got to fix it. That's what I'm saying. We got to fix it. We're going to disconnect the battery here, make our life a little easier. I tell you what, whoever came up with the idea to put a side post cable on a battery in a Corvette, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. All right, so I'm going to attempt to pull the speedometer cable out of this car. If you know anything about this, you know that I don't know of any way to film that. Ooh, I think I'll use the borescope camera and take a couple of quick shots and just kind of take a look at what I've got, what I'm up against. I'll put some of that in the video right here, and then I'll come back in here, and I've got to take the vent, the ductwork off, and then hopefully I'll be able to get my hand up in there and release that cable. I read the manual. The manual says, pull the cluster forward. You know how much of a pain it is to pull the cluster or do anything with this cluster in this car? No, I'm not doing that. Not unless I have to. Anyway, so, all right, let's go ahead and get the borescope camera and let's see what we're up against. All right, we got the air conditioning duct pulled out of there. That's pretty easy, really. So, we'll take a look at the back of this speedometer. There's the Speedo cable. You see that tab right there? Let's move around a little bit. See that tab right there? Basically, you press that towards the speedometer, and this cable just slips out of there. I've done this once before, years and years ago. It's very few things on this car I haven't touched. But I want to kind of get around the back side here. There's the back side of the cable right there. You can see where it's held tight with a little bolt. Hey, look at that. We've got some numbers. Oh, that's the speedometer number. 2501-17077 PED-2. Interesting. There we go. Let's see if I can't get my hand up in there, press that little tab, and pull that cable out. All right, I was able to disengage it from the back of the speedometer with a little bit of hand-mouth tongue coordination. I'm going to try to work this at the end of the cable past some of these wires and stuff. There she is right there. That wasn't too hard. That wasn't hard at all. There's the end of our cable. How about that? That wasn't hard at all. Not really. It doesn't exactly look, well lubricated up in there, does it? So, let's see if I can get some needle nose in there and pull that out of there. A little cell phone action going on here. We don't want to mess up the end of the cable with these needle nose. It does not slide out. Interesting. I wonder if the thing has to come out as a unit. Everything I read said pull the cable out. Pull the... That's what the book said. Let me head scratch. All right, change of plans. Got Pioneer Automotive Industries LLC, powertrain products, speedometer cable, part number CA3001. Local O'Reilly had this in stock for 10 bucks. I have no idea if it'll fit. It said it would. I looked up the part on the website, and it looks like that looks exactly like, it looks exactly like, the one that's on there. I don't know about the length, however. Now, the original cable, where it connects to the back of the speedometer, had this plastic tip on it. I was yanking on it with a pair of needle nose, and this came off. And I read somewhere in a forum that there was a plastic tip on it. I don't know why there's a plastic tip on it, and I don't know if I should take this plastic tip and put it on the end of this cable. You see this cable actually slides in and out quite nicely. I'm assuming it's lubed up with some sort of graphite lube. Furthermore, I'm going to make the assumption that says I shouldn't have to add any other additional lube to it. I'm going to guess, dang, that's a tight fit. I need to figure out whether or not I need to transfer this plastic tip to the end of this cable. So let me go do that, and then we'll get started doing a full replacement. Initially, I was going to pull the cable out and lubricate it and then put it back in. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm just going to do a whole scale swap out. All right, I couldn't really determine whether or not this thing needed to be lubed or not, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. Certainly does spin nicely. And I don't know too much about that plastic tip either. I did read somewhere, somebody was saying something about that being part of a kit or something. I don't know. Who cares? So what I'm going to do is take a very small amount of super lube. It's a synthetic lubricant. And I'm going to lube about, 2/3 of this thing, just with a very slight smearing of this stuff. Make sure you get some dirt on it, Harris. And we'll ease that back up in there. And then we're going to go ahead and pull this old cable out of the car. So let's go ahead and do that next. All right, so our cable comes out of the firewall right here. This is where we're going to be working, right in here. So just wanted to give you an up-close shot of that. And let's go ahead and give this a shot and see how well we do. All right, let's go ahead and get this. You can't do jack on this car without taking that damn cover off. Let's see what happens here if we just start pulling this thing. Yeah, we don't want to go in there with reckless abandon. I better go check inside the car and make sure we're not hanging up on anything. Yeah, it was a little jammed up. I really don't want to take that grommet off of there. Let me get a pair of, let me get some tools here. Hold up. Got some grabby stuff here. I'm gonna grab hold of that metal part. And it pulled the grommet out with it. That was convenient. All right. I guess the grommet really does have to come out. All right, I got to put the car back in the air to get this thing the rest of the way out of there. So let's do that. All right, so here's the cable. Connects into the transmission there. And goes up over the transmission this way and snakes up through there to the engine bay. So I'm going to fish that out of there. I'll be right back. All right, let's see how well we do. Come on out of there. There we go. There's that grommet. That's what that looks like right there. Yes, that grommet has some little steel tabs on it. She wasn't letting go without some, yeah, man. It was in there good. I was thinking I'd replace this cable at some point over the years, but I guess I was wrong about that. So, anyway, let's get this thing out of here. There we go. All right. Let's see what we need to do to get this grommet swapped out. Let's see. What do we need to do to get this off of here? And just work at it, I guess. So why wouldn't this cable come out of here? Was it just so gummed up that it just wouldn't work anymore? Man, that thing is just, man, it's just gummed up. That's all it is to it. There's no saving this one. It's done. Now, I will say this. This has to be the stock cable that went with the car. It has this this bracket on here on the end that sort of offers some rigidity. I'm thinking maybe we'll take that off there and reuse it. We'll clean it up first. Looks like it's probably made out of aluminum. Bends pretty easy. I'm assuming this is for, you know, keeping the cable in a nice straight fashion as it goes into the transmission. Yep. All right, let's set this aside. And let me go ahead and clean this up real quick. I'll be right back. All right, let's see what we can do here. Got it cleaned up. So I'm not entirely sure if this is beneficial or not, but you know, it's just part that came on the car and back in the day, so we'll see what we can do here. Might maintain that stock look that I like. Let's see if we can crimp that a little bit. There we go. And let's fold that over. We're not going to, you know, force it onto the cable. You know, we're not going to impede on the actual cable. This is just a protective sheath underneath the car. I'm assuming that's what it is. Let's see now. Let's see if we can't get this on there. It's a rather stretchy affair right there. Probably going to have to put it in the vise. Yeah, let's try that. All right, so it's not tight by any stretch of the imagination. It's just I'm using this little lip here to give myself some support. There we go. That's what we needed. And we put it on backwards. Try again. There we go. All right, now. Yeah. Cool. All right, so what I'm going to do is concentrate on the speedometer end first. And I'm not even going to worry about fiddling with anything down here. I'm just going to put this guy up through the back of the engine bay and get it into the car and hook it up to the back of the speedometer. Because in my mind, that is the most complicated bit. All right, we got ourselves some tape on there. Come on, Grommet, you're going along for the ride now. Lollygagging around. All right, now, I am just gonna put that up there like that around the transmission, just so it doesn't fall. Now, let's go ahead and get the car on the ground and hook it up to the speedometer. All right, let's see if we can get this thing in there. We've got to locate our grommet, which is lollygagging in the rear here. Okay. Get on in there. There we go. Mr. Grommet doesn't want to come to the party. We're going to show him. All right, there we go. We ain't got to hook him up just yet. We're going to get the speedometer cable attached to the Speedo next. All right, that was no big deal, actually. Just slipped it over there, and it slips down past that clip that I undid with my finger earlier. And you hear it go click. And, you know, that was pretty much it. No big deal, really. Let's see now. This right here, this grommet might be a big deal. Two of these tabs is kind of bent over and one of them's not. So, let's see here. Almost. Let's see. Let's put the flat one on the bottom. Let's do that. There we go. Come on now. Let's get our universal tool in here. See if we can't do something here. There we go. One grommet installed. Let's go ahead and lock this rascal in place then, without cross-threading it. Come on now, get with the program. You're a speedometer cable. Do speedometer things. There we go. All right, cool. Pay no attention to that oil right there. That's inconsequential. Actually, I think I have a rear main. Even on a brand new, well, yeah, on a newly refurbished short block, the rear main seal on a small block, shit, I think the rear main seal on small block Chevrolet V8s was designed to leak. I do. I mean, you know, it's supposed to be new. The machine shop went through everything and everything was perfect, except for that. So I'll have to yank the pan off and do the rear main. Yeah, that'll be, you know, we'll do that later. So, but for right now, we'll just, you know, give her a wipe down and make believe that didn't happen. So anyway, it's not catastrophic. It's just, you know, I've done them before. I can do them again. All right, I think we're done with the Speedo cable, to be honest with you. And I'm not going to put the ductwork back in place just yet because I might have to make some adjustments with the cable routing and stuff. So right about now, I think it's time to take a test drive. All right, initial indications. No squeaks. It would have started squeaking by now. And except for the window. The window has a little squeak over there. Don't be alarmed by that. But yeah. Speedometer cable problems have been arrested. Man, she's quiet now. She was, you know, it wasn't that bad, but it sounded like it to me. So anyway, so quiet, so nice. And I think the first thing we're going to do is go get some gasoline. So I'm going to do that. I'll be back shortly. And let's put her down in first. And I'm going to go here to this nice empty spot and act like a fool. So we'll do, I don't really know how much of this you have to do. Not really. I've done it a few times. So we'll go ahead and turn this thing over on the full lock. You know what I hate doing? I hate doing this because it makes me seasick, to be honest with you. Don't hit that wall over there, Harris. Holy cow. Alright, we'll do one more to the left here. I ain't lying. This old Corvette's got a hell of a turning radius. It's pretty tight. Alright, let's go the other direction now. Let's see. I don't know how much of this is required, but that's all I'm gonna give it because that makes me sick as a dog. Holy cow. Woo! Alright, I'm gonna get this thing up to highway speed and then piddle around town a little bit and make sure those clutches are nice and quiet, and I'll be back. Alright, we got her down in 5th gear, running 50 miles an hour. And that's 1,600 RPMs at 50 miles an hour. That's not too shabby. Alright, let's see. Pick it up to about 55. We're just on a local road. Don't want to go too fast. It is 1750. 55 miles an hour is about 1,700, something like that. I tell you what, you just don't realize how daggone loud a squealy speedometer cable is until you eliminate it. I tell you what, before the car was because of the Speedo cable, it was barely drivable. That's just one thing I cannot tolerate. It drives me insane. And right now, this car is absolutely phenomenal to drive. It's just fantastic. All right, let's go ahead and get up on the interstate for a few miles and get a couple of miles of interstate travel in. Shifting into fourth. And we're in fifth. And about 74, 75 miles an hour, 2,400 RPM, 23, 24, something like that. Let's see, it's 70. Sorry about the weird camera angle. 70 miles an hour, we're looking at 2250, right in between the 2000 and the 25, the 20 and the 25 there. So looks like 2250 for 70 miles an hour is a fair assessment. And we'll give it a little extra speed here. Getting up close to 80, about 78 miles an hour is 2,500, somewhere in that neighborhood. I tell you what, man, you can go as fast as you want to in this car now with this fifth gear. It's just ridiculous. And all I have to do is barely touch the accelerator pedal. All right, I think we're going to call it a video, folks. We've got two minor wins today. We got our squeal. Well, actually, I'm not going to call that minor. I'm going to call that major. We got our squeal out of our speedometer, and we reduced the rear end chatter by, I'm going to call it 99%. I'm not going to call it completely fixed because on occasion, after a good hot drive down the interstate and back, and then you stop and you at a light, you turn left or right, you can hear a very slight little grindy, chirpy sound, and that's from those clutches in the rear end and these C3 Corvettes. It's just a common problem, and I'm not too sure you could ever eliminate it fully from this car with just fluids without actually doing something with the clutches, maybe replacing them. I'm not sure. However, it is 99% better than it was 3 days ago because it was off the chain. Royal Purple, you're fired. All right, folks, I appreciate you guys stopping by the channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to be notified whenever I release a new video, don't forget to click that little bell down below. You guys have a good one, and remember to enjoy driving your classic C3 Corvette.